For years I tried to learn video editing by watching tutorials that looked impressive but explained very little. I would finish a video knowing which buttons were pressed but not why they were used. Each time I opened DaVinci Resolve I felt like I was guessing instead of editing. Most beginners' tutorials focus on effects and shortcuts, not real understanding. That leaves people confused and dependent on copying others. I realized beginners don't need more tricks, they need clarity. This channel was created in order to show you that DaVinci is not so dangerous. You can accept it as a course if you like, but I think it's more like guidelines of what is hidden and what can help you in video editing. Here we go in depth into tools hidden in menus and manuals, explained clearly and practically. You'll learn how the software actually works step by step. The goal is to help you confidently edit your own videos, start a channel, or build a video editing business. So, let's go! In the previous video, we focused on starting a project, importing media, relinking, and keeping everything organized. In this video, we'll take the next practical step. It's building your first timeline. We'll cover creating a new timeline, preparing clips with subclips, and adding interview soundbites. These steps are essential for turning raw media into an editable sequence that makes sense. A clean, well-prepared timeline at the start saves a lot of time and frustration later, so let's get into it. So, before you can start editing, you need a timeline. This is where all your clips and edits live. Think of it as a foundation of your video. Without a proper timeline, everything else becomes messy and harder to manage. To create a timeline in DaVinci Resolve, go to Media Pool in your project, right-click in the Media Pool and select Create New Timeline or Ctrl+N for Windows or Command+N for Mac users. Or just simply drag and drop one or more media files in this area. In the dialog box, give your timeline a clear name, descriptive name, for example, like, let's say, Interview Project Timeline. Okay, that's fine. Decide whether to use the project settings or custom settings. For now, just stick with the project settings. It ensures everything matches the sequence you're working on. Select how many video and audio tracks you want the timeline to be created with. You can start with 1 and 1, but don't worry, later on you can add as many as you need. Click Create and your empty timeline will appear in the edit page. At this point, your timeline is ready and you can start adding clips, organizing them, and preparing your content for editing. A quick tip: always keep your timeline names clear. That saves time when your project grows. Now that we have timeline ready, we can move on to adding interview soundbites and working with subclips. Before placing clips in the timeline, it's important to understand the controls you see under the source viewer and above the timeline. These tools affect how you preview, navigate, and edit your footage. Under the source viewer, you'll find basic playback and navigation controls. The Jog Wheel allows you to move through a clip frame by frame or at variable speed. This is useful when you need to find exact moment in speech or precise visual frames. Otherwise, you can move directly the playhead. Playback controls. This includes play, pause, fast forward, and rewind. They let you review footage normally before making any edits. Loop button. When you press I, you make an in point in the footage, and when you press O, this is for out point. Everything between these 2 points is your selected part from the footage. When the loop button is active, it will play from in point to out point infinitely. Above the timeline, you will find tools that control how editing behaves. These are some of the most important tools to understand early. Selection tool or cursor. This is the default tool, and it lets you select clips, move them, and resize them. Most of your editing will be done with this tool. Trim edit mode. Let's say we already made a cut our footage, but later on we decided that I need another part from this footage, but be with the same length as cut before. This tool allows me to scroll the footage horizontally and make a fine trim while preserving the surrounding edits. Blade or cut tool. The blade tool cuts clips wherever you click. Use it to split clips into smaller parts. Dynamic trim mode. This allows you to trim clips while playing them back. It's designed for more precise, time-based edits. First, when activate mode, playhead turns yellow. Then you need to activate trim edit mode. If you right-click to dynamic trim mode, you can choose between slip and slide options. When you press K plus J for backwards and K plus L for forward one frame, if you select the slip option, it will slide the video same as what we saw a few minutes ago with the trim edit mode. But if you choose slide option, it slides current selected footage and start cutting previous one. If you press K plus J, depends on how frames cuts from previous footage. And slide forward when pressing K plus L depends on how frames are cut from your next footage, but keep the current one without change of length and frame position. Snapping tool. When enabled, clips snap to playhead and to other clips. This helps align edit accurately, just like using magnetic force. Link selection. When enabled, linked video and audio clips move together. Disabling it allows you to move audio and video independently. On the right side of the timeline, you'll find zoom controls. Full extent zoom. This fits entire timeline into view. Detail zoom. Zooms into show individual frames, and fine detail depends on where the playhead is positioned. Custom zoom lets you manually control how far in or out the timeline is zoomed using Alt plus scroll, or just using the scale slider next to this button. These zoom controls don't affect your video, only show how much of your timeline you can see. Understanding these controls now will make the rest of the editing process much smoother. Once you know how to navigate and prepare your clips, adding sound bites and building structure become much easier. So, what is soundbite? It is a short, memorable part from a spoken recording, which is a few seconds in order to grab viewers' attention. Once your timeline is ready, your next step is adding your interview clip so we can take the sound bites. These are the pieces of audio you will see in your final edit. If you have 2 or 3 interview recordings, keep them in media pool and review them one by one. This keeps everything in one place and ready for use. In my case, I have only one. Before you place a clip in the timeline, you can preview it directly in the media pool. You have option to enable or disable audio scrubbing from top menu, timeline, audio, and audio scrubbing, or Shift plus S. This will mute or unmute the video preview. Hover your mouse over a clip and move left and right. This lets you scrub through a clip and find the exact moment you want to use. It's a quick way to check your content without adding it to the timeline first. To help you locate the soundbite, you can turn on audio waveform from source viewer. Click on the triple dot menu, show audio waveform in the source clip. I've already prepared footage of a field with plants, forest, river, stream, sea and mountain peak. Now it's time to choose the right soundbites that will strengthen the impact of our video. So let's listen to the short interview. Load it into the source viewer so we can cut out soundbites. As we can see, the first footage shows grass or plants in the forest that are moving from the wind. Okay, let's listen.
Moving through so many different landscapes on this journey.
It felt like the environment was constantly changing the rhythm of the trip. The forest slowed everything down, the light was softer. I think this part, forest slowed everything down, may have impact as an intro to our video, so let's cut it. I will place the playhead for beginning, press I, then go here, press O, and drag and drop your first sound bite. You can adjust the soundbite with the Jog Wheel before drag and drop or directly into the timeline. Let's continue. The light was softer, the air heavier, and every step felt like intentional. But every step feels like intentional. This part is also a good soundbite, like continuing the story and trigger emotions. Here again, I place I for start point and O for out point to cut this part and drag and drop to the timeline. Here I will introduce what are subclips. A subclip allows you to take a specific portion of a long video and turn it into its own usable clip inside the media pool without duplicating the original file. By the time I reached the mountains and everything opened up, the scale was bigger. The wind was stronger and it reminded me how small I am in a good way. It reminds me how small I am in a good way is a nice choice for our demo video because it compares human and nature size. In this part there is a gesture that makes strong impact to the video, so I will also review part of that interview. I will show you how to create a subclip, mark in and out points in the source viewer where you check a specific footage, go to mark menu on top, create subclip or Alt+B on the keyboard, give a name to your subclip. Quick tips: keep all your subclips in separate bins or create a smart bin that filter anything with subclip in the title. I will put my part just here. Each place had its own pace and I had to adjust to it instead of forcing my own. Was there a moment that stayed with you the most? Yes, being near the water. Whether it was the sea, a river or a narrow stream, it all felt like connected. It all felt connected. Here I will clean up my speech and I will put it just here or maybe here. Okay, let's continue. Water moves without hesitation but never without direction. Standing there listening to it, I realized how much energy we waste resisting change. That moment stayed with me long after I moved on. That moment stayed with me long after I moved on. This also makes a strong impact because that movement shows direction when I say moved on. So I will reveal that part from the footage. I can create a new subclip, so let's cut it. Place the playhead, press I on the keyboard, then move the playhead at the end, press O, and press Alt+B to create a new subclip. Give it a name, drag and drop here, and that's it. Later on, you can use your subclips again as they are already created. At this point, you've created a timeline, added interview sound bites, organized them with subclips, and shaped the basic pacing of your edit. This is the structural foundation of any strong video. Before effects and music, colors, your story needs to work here first. In the next video, we'll focus on the core editing operations that give you real control over your timeline. You'll learn how to place clips precisely and how these tools directly affect pacing and structure. If you haven't watched the previous video how to start a project in DaVinci Resolve, importing and relinking media, I recommended going back and watching it. Proper project setup makes timeline work much smoother. And if you're completely new to DaVinci Resolve and want to begin from the very start, watch my first video. starting the program and understanding what you see. That video explains the workspace and prevents early confusion. See you in the next one.